Okay, so now then you go further down the thread. I start like why didn't they ever talk about it? And it gives all these, excuses that, say that there obviously are the positions of the people behind it. Everything's always perfectly innocent. Nothing to see here, folks. Shit happens. And it's like, but I keep going on, and it winds up telling me some stuff I didn't know, which don't happen very often for a know-it-all. But then now I do know everything because, this guy, he straightened me out. Well, I wasn't wrong about nothing. That's how I got there, being right. Until I pushed it to have to give me an explanation. And what it turns out is that the lockdowns are what stopped the deadly kid Victoria virus, the B Victoria, which if you try to find information, it's like it used to have the whole story. If you knew what the search, if you knew B Victoria, you'd get a whole Wikipedia page would tell the whole story. Now you can barely find it, and every time I bring it up, you can find less. It's like nobody paid attention to this. Nobody asked any questions. So they didn't go around locking the information down because it was a non-issue. But then they shut up about the kid virus, which, remember, my theory was that they invented that so they could have their cake and eat it too. They could get their vaccine money and then sell you a bunch of Theraflu and all the over the counter. All the sick people would be buying. So they, because you got all these companies go, man, everybody's getting their vaccine and no one's buying our products. What about us? They want a cut of the vaccine money. It's all right. Well, let's do both. And so there's like, uh-oh. Like they came up with one in the lab and they unleashed it and it evolved. They're like, uh-oh, and it's killing the crap out of babies. Well, that ain't no good. Well, unleash another one, a less deadly one, and then to hide the first one, we'll make a big deal about the second one and we'll lock down everything. And also shut down Trump's economy, which is it's like it is all a blessing, because it's all part of the plan, but that's what actually happened to this Victoria virus, and it's like it's really the biggest story of COVID. Other than all the lies and the bullshit, like COVID actually wasn't that bad. A lot of the deaths were like, well, people that got COVID were dying from other stuff or had other, it's like for a lot of people, they didn't get it. They didn't, the country that, forget which one, that like Denmark or whatever, that didn't lock down and they didn't wear a mask and they got through it quicker than everybody else. It was like never a big issue. And sometimes you had to wonder why Trump wasn't making more. He made plenty of noise, but why he wasn't making more noise. And if he knew about the dead, he's like, well, we can, you want us to go ahead and tell the truth about the kid virus, how we screwed that one up, or you want to just, we're going to have to lock down anyway, because if we don't get rid of this virus, it's going to keep coming back, year after year. And that's how they got rid of it. The lockdowns didn't do crap for COVID because they didn't need crap for COVID. COVID just ruined the country in every measurable way and got that retard Biden elected. And the real story was this B Victoria strain that COVID got rid of because it stopped spreading when they did the lockdowns. And then it died on the vine. I don't even think it's even out there anymore. And which goes to my original point, which was they got to be doing this stuff. Like every time I have to go buy flu medicine at the drugstore for me or my wife, and I see, I'm like, this is a hustle. It's like, because why don't they just lock down wherever the virus, it starts in China. So, okay. They're communists and they're like rural, and a lot of these viruses, they come from rural people who inhabit the same space as animals. So, like, by and large, they come from places where they got the laborer sleeping in the chicken coop, and they're all crap. They're all like right there living together. And then so like a virus a chicken gets a virus, and then it spreads to the guy or the girl or the people, the family, or whoever's letting their kitchen be shared by a bunch of animals that are crapping everywhere. And so then it gets shared to the human, and then the human adapts to it and gives it back to the animal, and it bounces back and forth until it gets deadly to other humans. But the humans they've been inoculated to it by the chickens from the beginning. They evolved with it, and so then it starts to spread. But it's like, if it's coming from rural places like that, then it's like, and it's a communist country, so even you get way out in the country, they still got their little office there to go out and beat the hell out of anybody who doesn't do what they're told to do. And so, we just got a report of a flu virus breaking out here. Well, we haven't heard anything about it anywhere else, so lockdown. It's like we're communists. Lock down a few regions, and these are like rural areas where people grow all their own food, and it's like ain't no deal. Like they're kind of locked down anyway. Like they live off the grid. You just say, okay, everybody got to chill out for a few weeks or a month, and we'll bring in some cool stuff for toys to play with, and got good food, and we'll throw you a big party for saving the world at the end. It ain't that big a deal, but then it's better to go ahead and let it spread around the world, so you can make money selling stuff. And then eventually say, okay, well, see, once they're making that big money, it's like, okay, this ain't going away. We're not. We'll fight World War III before we let go of this extra $500 billion in profits worldwide a year. And so somebody comes up with the vaccine thing. Oh, hell, that's a good hustle. All right. And then they say, okay, well, let's do both, because they're always going to escalate. They're always going to go next level. And then but then it gets out of hand. But I don't think it did get out of hand. I think it was by design, because they had the design for Hillary. It's like Hillary was going to be the one who saved the babies and saved everybody. Like they were going to run the scam with Hillary, and then they ran it on Trump because they needed to ruin his economy or he'd get reelected. And they're too stupid to go, well, so what? He gets reelected, and if we help him 4 years from now, we can get elected. They say no, they gotta play the whole tard game and wind up with Biden and all this other nonsense. And yeah, I'm starting to run out of time again, which is good, because I think I pretty well covered that one. All righty then.